Hello people, and welcome back to part 28 of Palaven. Now I've another Cities Skylines build, but we're having a wonderful day. And thank you for all the support on Sunday's stream. Palaven made a return to the usual Sunday slot. I did some nice jobs. I started decorating this Y interchange over here. Still got a little bit left to do and a bit of open space here to do something with at some point as well. And we'll just start to develop a little bit of a cliffside. Add a bit of personality into the interchange, right? Looking good. We also rebuilt the marina because it kept flooding, and we also opened the fence up here a little bit as well. Added in the fish market, or fish factory even, alongside the fish market. It's a little bit pollutive, but it's not so much that it's affecting these guys over here. And we get some slightly autumnal vibes of some of the trees as well, which is always, you know, a nice change of palette. And then we also brought in a rail bridge to join up with the spaghetti interchange here. This does feed into the national line down this point, and will eventually run alongside this highway and into the downtown once we unlock that tile. However, in today's episode, it is time to work on Palaven's skyline. The kind of the first thing when we're going to be building the downtown. This is the first episode of the downtown layout and the downtown assets. I'm going to be having a picture of my inspiration open at all times. So for this particular build, obviously, I am taking significant inspiration from Pittsburgh. So over on my second monitor, which I will throw up on screen right now, you will see I'm constantly referencing a picture of the skyline that I'm looking at. This is massively helpful in terms of placing the assets and getting it to have that distinct style and look that you want to go for. It's quite important, so definitely have some point of reference open as you're building these things. Okay, so we'll start out with the road layout, shall we? And we'll start to build up some layers as to what is going to happen for Palaven's skyline. So first of all, I'm going to have a district here. See, I've already painted it out. It's going to encompass these kind of 4 squares. And this one is going to have the modern city centre creator pack applied to it, which of course affects how our commercial will appear. And I'm waiting for very specific 4x4 commercial assets to come in. So exactly like this, we've done this kind of stuff a million times before, specifically zoning, waiting for the asset that we want to actually come in. This is what we're going to be waiting on here today. And these are the ones that we want. It's these corner assets. Now these guys do move through a series of levels, so we are going to want to make them historical as they come in, of course. We can get those ones in now as well. So we'll wait for these to come in, and then we'll check back once we've got kind of a full block, and we'll see. We'll kind of see how this looks. So there we go. 4 very distinct patterns, kind of as a border as we move into the skyscrapers. We'll start layering those layers of height now. As we move towards kind of the epicenter of where all our unique buildings are going to lie. But these modern city centre creator commercial assets, combining them into blocks of 4x4 like this, really do give a different feel to the downtown, right? We've got a little bit kind of like old Parisian vibes about them as well. Reminds me of Paris for some reason. I don't know why. Shout out to the French subscribers. Yeah, this is going to be kind of the introduction, right? This is what's going to lie at this part of the downtown. Nice view from here over the river too. Don't forget to keep checking from all angles. We can see them now. No, they almost look like 8x8 assets themselves when they're like this, in these perfect little cubes. Wonderful. Okay, so in terms of the ring road here, I mentioned during the ring road episode, during the road layout episode, that we would be adding in intersections and on and off ramps as we come to do each of the individual builds. Very similar to how we've done over here. This is just like a small little slip road that will feed off into the ring road. I now want to give this part of the downtown its own junction. And we can centralize pretty much bang on with this road right here. So let's kind of work towards that. We'll take out a couple of sections of each of the road, the fence, and the metro. And this will give us a nice little bit of space to work with. Do some terraforming first of all. Go for a medium-sized brush with the highest intensity. And then we'll start setting the height out here. I'm just going to keep clicking until we come up to the key. That should do me for right now. That should be okay. And then I'm just going to soften some of these slopes out on the sides. And then we're going to come back through with our ring road. 2-lane highway. And then, as we start to rise up, we're going to turn into a tunnel. And then we'll come under. And again, we can just check the distance here. It was 1920 that we came out by. To make sure we kind of get the same appearance on the tunnel each side, you know. And then, where we have this little entrance here, we can bring off a slip road. And then this guy's going to run parallel, kind of up the side of this hill here, right? Then we can latch onto the road guideline, grab ourselves a curve tool. And then we can start to curve up. Okay guys, so I've hooked in a very basic kind of ring road interchange loop here. This is again based off an actual ring road interchange that we can find in Pittsburgh. With the vanilla game, we do get some kind of janky terraforming going on as we have tunnels so close to each other. But I kind of like the way it exposes all this concrete on the metro tunnel. So the metro, as you can see, just tunnels underneath this little landmass that we've grown up. Got maybe some slight tight angles here, just where we need to do some terraforming. It's a little steep as they come in. But we'll tidy this up in the detail anyway. But we can see it's already getting some little use here now that we've hooked it in. See people taking the ring road back out of town as well. You know, and this is also in the purpose of taking pressure off of these main arterials that flow around the downtown. There's some people heading out that way. And some choosing to use the ring road as well, which again, is always appreciated. Always nice to see. And then this little bridge right here just heads over. We're going to get some nice detailing through here as well, you know. I've also changed up the main road as well to another arterial. This just now runs straight the way through the middle of our grid. Just so we have like a little bit more of an impressive entrance. It was kind of underwhelming with the 2-lane road. But I think now we've got this one, we can a little bit more impressive. And I think what I'll do, because we've broken this pattern now, because I do want these to appear here, what we'll do is we'll throw them out to the next tile. So we'll free up these tiles in the middle, and then have our modern city centre stuff here. In terms of a general ring road junction, we can expect these to appear in multiple places as we kind of come to each of the individual builds, right? So I think this is it's on its way. So I'll go ahead, I'll move these modern city centres over to the right, and then we can start to place in some of those skyscrapers. So again, now I have my ring road junction in, and I'm kind of happy with the orientation of all the different assets. We can see this is the ring road junction here. It's controlled by traffic lights. People can merge on and off in various different directions like we've just discussed. However, you know, what are we looking at? We can see we've got a nice little treed road here, little kind of median in the middle. But it isn't immediate high rise, you know, they're set a little further back. Looks like there's some smaller office space kind of right by the ring road junction here. Kind of a larger looking asset on this side too. So again, you know, when we've got this kind of main street running in that direction also, lots of traffic in Pittsburgh by the looks of it. So yeah, we'll start to replicate some assets here, get some unique buildings in to kind of cover these sides, and then we can start to look at some of the high rises. So, you know, coming into Street View, looking at what type of assets, how tall the buildings are near the ring road. You know, if you're not working with the ring road, then whatever your inspiration is, get on Street View and just take a look at the assets. Really helps you craft a much more authentic downtown. Okay, so let's start to look at a couple of these little frontal assets, shall we? So the majority of my skyline is going to be made up of unique buildings from content creator packs and multiple DLCs, of course. And there's the downtown hotel from the Japan Modern content creator pack. Fits in really nicely with our modern city centre commercial here. And it also leaves us a little bit of room to come through with a pathway. So with my downtowns, leaving as little green space as possible, unless you're kind of making a dedicated plaza or parkland, really helps. It'll also make sure that this main arterial road, at least for this section, stays free of zoning. We're going to get no people stopping and starting here. It is going to be a straight run the way through, which of course will help with the traffic as well. And it's also, you know, nice little bit of decoration. It's more concrete, you know, especially with the path in the middle. I'm starting to get a little bit of a repeated pattern with the trees in the middle and the trees on the outside. So it's all stuff to bear in mind, of course. And we can probably go ahead now and zone in some stuff here. Yeah, so we can see this modern city centre stuff now is starting to break its pattern. It's much better when you use it in blocks like this. You can kind of see it as just kind of aimlessly zoning it. Really does make a difference in the aesthetic. But I'm fairly happy with these little office zonings here. You know, this one is a slight climb in height as we're moving back, which is what we want. And then again, you know, I've got that little pathway through. Bit of an opportunity, maybe take the tree away so we don't click with the buildings. But you know, there's an opportunity here to put out some more concrete, makes the city more walkable. Yeah, I think we'll go with office zoning. So we'll take away our high density commercial. There's going to be a lot of this episode, guys, if you haven't already figured that out. But yeah, you know, we'll just start to flesh out with some office zoning here. I'm loving that the ring road is getting used as well. It's really nice. We'll also have a slip road come under here too. Yeah, it's nice to see them using it. See where they're going actually. What the hell's going on there? Oh, I need to sort the lane mathematics out. That's what's going on. Everyone's kind of coming via the ring. It's nice to see it getting used now, you know. It's satisfying. And then these guys are gonna, I'm guessing they're gonna come this way, merge back into Palaven that way, yeah, and take the bridge. Amazing, yeah, there they go. You know, rather than having to force through an arterial, the AI reads, well, you know, let's just take the ring road out of downtown. Ring roads are powerful. Powerful indeed. So, you know, we're getting some smaller ones here. You've really got to be picky and choosy with what assets come in. These are perfect. I'm liking these ones. That's fine. That one's fine. We will let things move up past level 1 as well, guys. Don't worry. I'm aware that I always historical at level 1. But, you know, we're building layers of height here. We want people to climb up, you know. And this guy just doesn't fit the vibe, I'm afraid. So if we can duplicate this one, then we're away. That's going to look really good. You know, we're getting some worker demand here, which is fine. Some of these might abandon while we do this process, but we can live with it. Okay, so while he comes in, let's have a discussion about kind of the key and king skyscrapers, shall we? So my main inspiration or main kind of focal point is going to be this main skyscraper that comes with the Japan Content Creator Pack. It is an absolute behemoth. And it's certainly going to make an impression on Palaven's skyline, and it will be our focal point. However, the orientation, again, is super important. Let's bring a road around here. So we perfectly box it in, and then I can flip the asset around. I want it to be facing this way. You know, again, checking it from all angles where it looks super great in the daytime, this building, the way the sunlight bounces off it. It really is nice. Yeah. Super important looking asset. So we're going to have this within the downtown sphere, of course. And then there's another one that I'm going to couple it with. This is going to be the high interest tower. And I think we're going to squeeze this one in up alongside here. And then we'll have the high interest tower in here as well. You know, it's a really nice accompanying asset to the, what's this one called? Just office skyscraper, pretty generic. Nothing too special. Then what we'll actually do is we'll move this one across by a tile. And then we'll now feed our arterial through here as well. So we'll have this one. Feed it through this way. Of course, now cut through. So this is why we did like the downtown road frame, right? You know, we're not committing to a set grid. It's very malleable in terms of what we want to do. And then I'll probably go ahead and break this commitment now too. And then this gives me more room to squeeze in some more kind of key unique assets which are going to help make up the skyline. So let's go ahead and get some more of those in now. There's also the company headquarters from the, again, Japan Content Creator Pack. And if we place this in here. Again, super important asset, but you know, we want to bear in mind the orientation. Keep checking things from different angles. So especially from this view right here, which is the main one from kind of the downtown. Or from the suburb to the downtown, rather. You know, we take a lot of the eye away from the office skyscraper in favour of this new, smaller white one. So we're going to shift his orientation a bit. Again, you know, I've not committed to my grid, so I know that I can shift this one out. And then maybe we can focus this one up along this main arterial road. And now I think my skyline's looking a little more organic. With those in there as well. I'm fairly happy with that. Super. Wonderful. Okay, let's continue our journey through the wonderful world of Japanese content creator assets. And again, we've got some more high-rise office buildings here. Go ahead and make sure. There's also the Majesty from the Art Deco pack. I'm going to want to make sure that my focal point still remains the office skyscraper. And how are we looking from here as well, you know? How's this Main Street Avenue looking? Kind of getting into the, you know, the corners here. We will have trams flowing through here at some point as well. You know, it's coming together. That skyline is starting to develop. We also have Pinau Street, which is a really super tall asset, and this one is a beast. And it is taller than the office skyscraper. It is taller, but you know, it adds to my skyline. We want to make sure, you know, from all angles that we're looking somewhat sensible. And of course, it looks great with the helicopter here, doesn't it? Kind of flying overhead. You know, and then with these spaces where we have the zoning tiles remaining, this is where we'll flesh out towards the end, once we've got our uniques firmly placed in. You know, this is where we'll come through with IT cluster and more high density commercial stuff to kind of bring more structure to that skyline, right? Okay, so let's continue. Let's go for the high-rise office. So again, this one's in the smaller end of the spectrum. So I might want to use this one as we start to crawl away from the high-rises. Let's try them in here for right now. Pairs very well with the company headquarters, I think. Now it's all about the angles. I think I might want to change the orientation of it, maybe so it's facing this way instead. This is going to be a super expensive episode. We might have to pause and wait for some money to come in here. Pause the recording, I mean. Yeah, okay. Maybe a little bit closer than that. We'll bring in a road network behind him. Again, trying to stick into our grid format. Let's actually come one tile short. Then again, you know, saving us some room for those paths to come through. I want as little green space as possible, other than kind of around tram interchanges and stuff. You know, I don't want these to be surrounded by that green space. So we'll take that out. And I think what I'm maybe thinking here, I'm not a huge fan of the Majesty at that point. Let's see if we can place that one elsewhere. We can maybe kind of come through the middle here as we begin to transition down this side. Place that one in there perhaps. It looks so cool once we've got all these transport lines in. Kind of seeing it all flow kind of in and around the downtown. It's going to be very, very nice indeed. Yeah, so I'm feeling some plaza vibes around here. I think we're going to run with the Statue of Wealth, guys, as the kind of center focal point on our taller skyscrapers here. There's a little bit of open air between them all. And then we can pack them out with IT cluster as well. Just kind of taking a look over by here, because this road's getting a lot of use now. So to make sure that we weren't choking down here with people coming out of the downtown, but we're good. And just take a look at the skyline there. Got some views from elsewhere in Palaven too. Yeah, you know, I can visualize that now. Starting to come together. So yeah, let's work with the premise that we are going to go for the Statue of Wealth within the middle. We'll go for a couple of tram tracks initially. So it's coming for here right now. We'll get the asset placed. There we go. That's going to be central. It's going to have a really nice open feel as you kind of come into this corner, right? Especially once we have some of these blocks filled out here as well. Let's actually start getting some of those zonings in. Do we have a district here? What are we kind of working with? You might notice that I'm using quite small districts. There's a reason for that. It just kind of gives each block its own identity, its own theme. So we'll go for an IT cluster here, and we'll start to get in some varying different shapes of buildings, and we'll slowly see a theme come together. Okay, so let's begin to work on something of a tram square. So we'll definitely have this as the end of tram line, and the trams will feed into the metro over here eventually. Once we come to work on these blocks here, which will probably be residential. Nice riverside of residential here, that'd be nice. Yeah, so we're just getting some abandonment, it's fine. It's because there's no population in this area for them. We'll tidy those up before we leave today. Okay, so let's start to see how some of the IT cluster skyscrapers begin to blend into the aesthetic. Again, those assets are actually kind of what I'm after, which is very convenient. Let's go ahead now and fill in the smaller tiles. Again, just keep checking it from all these different angles. You know how we're looking from this corner down here? Not too bad. Make sure we're not kind of losing. The transition here is a little extreme. But from the right angle, we are adding to the skyline with those assets, I think. So we're continuing to play with some IT cluster patterns here. And we want to start to see this kind of central square become encased with all these high rises now. It'd be good if these two were flipped around, wouldn't it? I think we might do that. And then we'll just start to see some develop this side of the kind of centerpiece skyscraper as well. See how we're looking from down here. So there's the Eddie Cavongo building too, which again is adding to our eventual climb in height here. Getting some nice views down these streets as well. We're very packed in. This is a good one right down here. And then similar like here as well. We can start to place in some of these Japanese content creator assets alongside the front here too. Now again, very similar height to our kind of front border here. We're not going too crazy with the transition. I'll leave that there for now. Whether or not it stays or not, we'll obviously wait and see. Let's have the resort hotel. Now this is a nice looking asset. I do like this one. Got some nice kind of car park decals out the front of it as well, which is always appreciated, of course. Definitely works well with the P&L Street building. I'm starting to collect this from here as well. Let's have a little nighttime spy, shall we, guys? Let's see how we look from the nighttime here. Ooh, especially with the moon as well. Moon's a nice little addition. Yeah, okay. I'm definitely feeling the IT cluster buildings as additions to this skyline here. Yeah, nice to see some people using the downtown road network as well. So I'm now going to use the bulk of the Japanese content creator buildings to start creating layers as we move down. You can see how these work together here. If you don't have the Japanese content creator pack, by the way, there is a link down below to Instant Gaming, which does support the channel. Shameless plug. But it is one of the better content creator packs. It is really nice. And it certainly helps with kind of differentiating your downtown away from the usual kind of zoned out assets. And we'll try and combine a couple of different themes here to get what we're after. Okay, we got some of this different zoning in. We'll wait for a couple of these office ones to level up. Again, once we've got them in, we can come through and detail in the rest. You know, I want these very tight blocks in here. Lots of back-to-back zoning. Maybe squeeze in another unique here, potentially. There's a small office building, which has a lovely decal out the front, with a little car park here. Yeah, this is what I'm after, you know. We're all climbing up to this very tall, dramatic centre. It's going to be a lot of looking from different angles in this episode, if you hadn't already realised, so apologies if it's not quite your usual type of episode, but this is important research. We need to make sure that the skyline remains sensible and organic, and I think we're on our way here, developing what I'm after. This looks like one of the corner assets. How about we go for some quirkier sizes in here and see what develops. Let's get some. No, let's go for some smaller office zoning. Again, you know, with these kind of inner city ones, we will allow these ones to go through their respective levels. Let's go ahead and sweep through with some services just to help those levels move up a little bit. Let's bring in a fire station on this corner right here. Does this fit the aesthetic? Yeah, I think it needs to be facing the road though. So if we bring this one up into the corner. Yep, that's not too bad. And then we'll grab some police as well. Some police headquarters. Maybe this would look good up alongside the ring. Kind of having it here on the main arterial. No. No, it doesn't. Okay, just place it in here for right now. This will just help these guys move up through the levels a little quicker. Again, we're moving down into kind of the smaller stuff now, which we'll use for an own build, but want to make sure we save room for that district office building too. Let's place this one in here, and then we'll bring this guy onto this front, and this should allow us to develop another couple of layers. Yeah, there we go. You know, just almost like a Russian doll effect, right? It's kind of what we're going for here. Yeah, so it's this kind of screenshot, right? That we wanna generate from all angles, really. You know, we've got a very harsh drop off here, but we'll do some more commercially focused builds during the commercial episode in this space. Right now, we're kind of focusing on these blocks, and this is very much how the downtown will unfold. You know, we'll do these kind of little micro sections one at a time. Little space in here too. Come into this space, and then transport hub, university, Central Park and residential stuff over here. Okay. So I guess we can use this border right here as kind of the natural endpoint. We could squeeze in a transport tower behind here too. Again, you know, we're packing out all that green between the skyscrapers. We're left with very little, if not none, apart from these little corners here. And again, we're sticking to those rules of height too. Wonderful. Let's run with the transport tower for right now. We'll also start to introduce some 4x4 office zoning behind our key skyscrapers here. I am aware that this arterial road has thrown the grid off by a block, but it's going to help us introduce some more organic looking shapes, I feel. And we've also moved the Eddie Kavango building over a little, so it's kind of used as a corner piece here, right? We can see this kind of city corner developing now, especially from this angle. I've also gone ahead and thrown in the servicing services offices, although this probably won't stay. I think maybe we need to switch the orientation. Let's try this one together. If we bring this around the back for right now, give it the old 180. And then we can have something in like this. Okay. Okay. Then we could even go ahead and kind of develop some smaller office park vibes off the back of this too. And bring some flat end roads up against the road border here. And then save something through the middle. So let's see what kind of assets we're getting at the foot here. Just want something to kind of like cover the base of the tower, you know, on this side. Okay. So I think a 4x4 block of these would be quite nice. And then again, as we're using kind of this boundary right here as the natural end for kind of the financial stuff, give ourselves a little road, just to remind ourselves of that. Now there are some of these larger kind of entertainment focused assets like the Expo Centre and the Science Centre, alongside the aquarium too. I think I definitely want the Science Centre in here somewhere. As to where though, maybe on this road. We kind of take out some of these grids here. Save it in for there maybe. Yeah, so these ones I'm actually quite a big fan of. If we do a repeated pattern here, let's get 3 of these in. And we'll see how we look like. Again, I think with this being the arterial on this side, let's throw the 4x4 onto here. And then we can have another one in there as well. We've also got the opportunity to do some really nice transitional green belt stuff here. Especially in the detailing. Kind of get an idea of what this will look like together. Keep it kind of fairly minimal. Just with our usual palette, a couple of Palaven pines in here as well, of course. Would be rude not to. Do these in, then of course. May even turn this into an actual parkland and get some park assets in here. But just so we can kind of see like a treed border between Ring Road and High Rise. I think this is the aesthetic that I am trying to get here. Okay, so we've got these ones in now. A little bit. Yeah, it's a little bit of alright, I think. Don't like the colour changes, but it is mirrored either side, so I can pretend that is what I wanted in. Go ahead and get all these historical. That'll give us a nice little block there. We're definitely going to move the Colossal Order building in here because it's kind of perfect for what I need. So let's take out some of these Japanese content creator stuff. And then we'll take away some of this pathland. Let's come ahead and bring a little one-way flow system back through. We will come back through and kind of rework all the one-way systems to make sure that, you know, they first of all make sense. but also that they're just carrying people in an efficient direction as well. So if we go for the Colossal Order building here, that certainly gives us a better transition between the two. And we're looking pretty good from most of the angles here as well, I think. How we kind of fitting into the wider skyline here. Yeah, I think we're okay with that. That'll be fine. And then we can come back through. So kind of all this stuff here, like the Posh Mall, Grand Mall, of course, Grand Library, kind of some of these nicer, more commercial looking assets. We'll do some nice kind of commercial designs over this point. Like a little shopping districts and stuff, use some nice avenues. Yeah, I really like the servicing. It's such an odd name. servicing offices at the front here as well. Skyline, it is developing, I think. It is developing. Slowly but surely. So good to see people using the ring as well. That really is making me happy. That the much talked about ring road design actually works. Okay. So now let's come back through. Can we squeeze in here? No, we're a little too shallow. That's fine though. So now let's layer some transitional stuff. Let's go for our resort hotel here. Again, happy with that. Go ahead and maybe grab a district office building in here. And small office building this side. Actually take this one away and go for the local register office, this one. And then we can shift down a size, this one taller. Here it is, okay. Place that one in. Move this one to the back. And then this one into the middle. So I hope this process is useful, guys. You know, because there's Skyline in Bogusia, for those that watch the series. I felt like it very quickly got out of hand and there was no real consistency to it. But, you know, because we're taking so much inspiration from Pittsburgh here, having this crawling layer of skyscrapers is really, really important to the look of the build. Okay, so now we can, obviously got a lot of leftover zonings here. We can come back through with different combinations of high density commercial, you know, mix and match zonings in here. And then where we have some slightly awkward space, again, we can continue to improve the walkability of the city. Let's bring them up through this way. Connect into there. We've got some more opportunities for zoning in there too. We're getting some not enough workers, but we've got a big population demand right now. So the city centre's super loud, as you would expect. I'm gonna throw a bit of a curveball at you here, guys, and go for some high density residential as some decoration assets. They will be resistant to that noise pollution. But just so we can get an idea of how they fit in, because you get some of these, like this is a pretty officey, downtowny looking asset, like this black tower block here. These ones not so much, but we'll give them a chance to level up. We'll see if they're gonna contribute to what we want. And then again, we'll continue our kind of dense commercial vibes that we've got going on here. Where we don't like these assets, see, he's already nearly level 3, so I don't think you're going to be surviving. Again, we'll go for some mixed use. Let's go for more commercial and office along here. I guess kind of the take-home point from today's video is don't be afraid to delete stuff just because you placed it in. You know, and then where we've got these slightly awkward things, again, we can come back through with our classic detailing tips that we've picked up from all the varying small town builds in Palaven, right? Just create some like open fence, and I think what we'll do is actually upgrade this into one without decorations. And then we can just come through with maybe a smaller tree than this. Maybe let's go for a couple of these in here. And then we can almost start to create some downtown template spice now, as we look to fill in these slightly awkward areas just to get rid of as much green as possible, introduce concrete paths, and it's a little bit of fencing that, you know, people are already deciding to walk through. And we'll just see it begin to kind of take on this shape. There are a couple of assets within the vanilla pool that I really don't like, a lot of them being these high density commercials. But again, we'll give them a chance to level up, and where they don't level up or can't survive, we'll just clear them out. And yeah, it seems like, I think it's all the like the pink neon that throws me off with these, you know. I do like this asset though, this is a good one. The level 2 office space, let's see if we can get him in there as well. And then we'll do what we've just done over the other side. Maybe through the angle here, let's go for just the grid. And then we can come up through the mid. Then scrap some of those fences. Come off the grid again. You know, so we're detailing kind of the skyline and even as far down as like little street corners here. It's going to be a fun detail in time lapse, I'm sure. A couple of rocks in here as well, some very small undergrowth. And then just because we're in the downtown, let's go ahead and grab ourselves some park life props. And we can just come through and almost turn these into like little illuminated trees, which at night time will have the effect like it's almost part of like the office garden, you know? A little like segmented bit of woodland there. I don't think you can really qualify that as woodland. But you get the idea, right? Nice way of introducing some different themes into the area. These colossal order offices look really nice at night time. And yeah, it's on its way, I think, guys. It is on its way. Slowly but surely. It's just how many folks are choosing to use the outer ring road to get over. Which is good, they're flowing. Fine by me. It's taking all the pressure off of my arterial road. Interestingly enough, during the testing, kind of off camera that I do throughout the week, this road became really busy without this ring road junction. It is interesting, you know. Shows how much pressure that it's taken. Really has taken a lot. You know, this one might appear busy right now, but once there's one over here and another one this side, people can use the ring road to traverse all the way across the downtown. And of course, once we kind of work on this parkland here, we're going to open up this corner of the ring road for a junction to link into the highway. Oh, let's get a little view here, shall we? Yes, that is what we want. That's the money shot. So kind of, you know, you're driving into Palaven, this is the edge of the map. And then you've got kind of this dramatic skyline slowly revealing itself. You kind of come over these bridges. And it's just like, wowee. That's where we're going. Yeah, I think definitely constructing the skyline out of unique buildings is certainly makes a difference in the long run. I hope you all agree. And if you don't, then please do feel free to voice your opinion down in the comments below. So maybe courthouse I'm feeling potentially as well. The courthouse does work tremendously well with the official park. Now if we can rotate you around. Not the official park, sorry, the disaster memorial. And if we have this here, we get some almost quite UN vibes, especially with this disaster memorial asset. We're getting some back-to-back car parking decals. We will do kind of like a big car park for the stadium, which will reside kind of within this quadrant here. So I think we'll kill the tram line here as it comes to an end. And then we'll factor in our residential tram system from this point. Bring them down together. Wonderful. Yeah, and we can do some really nice tram residential stuff over here. All high density, of course. And then we can kind of see. Maybe actually bring this down just a little bit more. Come out like that. Just because I want to get something central against this kind of plaza design we've got going on. Let's go for a zoo path one side and a regular park path the other. And I'm pretty sure most of this is going to be park paths, but we'll try the zoo out anyway. Yeah, park path looks better. Have that one coming through there. That's a really nice way of combining two assets. Disaster Memorial pairs tremendously well with the courthouse. And it's also contributing to our layers of height here. But we have hit the border for the kind of financial high rises now. You know, this is the limit I'm setting myself. No further past this road. This is to be safe for residential and sports development, which will be good. And we will get some trams flowing around here as well for the final cinematics, of course. But guys, that does feel like a good place to jump into a D10 time lapse. I'm going to tidy up this slope right here specifically. And it brings some of the old trusty Palaven detailing along to this section of the waterfront. And detail up all these things as well. You know, we've got a lot of empty space here. Let's get some nice parkland in at this point. And then also come into the inner city and design our tram interchange, of course. Or tram stop, I guess this is. Not really an interchange. And get some trees around. And just can carry on to flesh out these areas. We'll also come down into this point as well and carry on. Looks like we got that same asset in. That is a real secret blend of herbs and spices. Thank you for generating. Yeah, just continue to play some zoning patterns in the way that we have been doing. And get some trees in and our usual little lovely tips and tricks that we use. And then we'll come back once kind of the Palaven high rises have found a little more of a concrete home. Pun intended. So I'll speak to you in a minute. Okay guys, that is going to do it for today. I want to thank you all so much for watching. If you've enjoyed the video, a like below is always appreciated. Equally as much if you haven't enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a dislike as well. I've gone ahead and begun to add in a series of walkways which will span across the river. And of course we'll notice a little more pressure on this ring road junction until other ones become active. But hopefully now you guys can understand how I'm planning to kind of expand the downtown out from this initial high rise. Over to the left, we'll be working on some residential, and on the right, we'll move a little more commercial as we head towards the transport hub in a couple of episodes' time. There's still a stadium to be fitted into this area as well, and don't forget to hang around for the rest of the outro tags because you guys wouldn't have seen all the detailing, and I'm sure this place will look amazing at night time. Otherwise, I will shut up and I will leave it there. I want to thank you all so much for watching, and as always, enjoy the rest of your day.